Hello and welcome. My name is Jonathan Berkey, aka the Berkshop, and I am going to do a quick tutorial walkthrough of this color correction breakdown that I posted about a week ago. I had several people contact me and ask if I could show how I did it. So it's a pretty simple concept, and I'll go ahead and show you how I did it. So watch one more time. There we go, all these faces. Okay. Get rid of that. I'll come over here to my project and I'm going to drop this golf shot and create a comp. So we have our footage in here. Like I said, it's pretty simple. So I am going to go ahead to go to layers and create a new adjustment layer. And this is really how I'm going to do all the color correction, at least in this instance, how I'm going to do everything. So, it's auto save. Why are you popping up? Okay. So I'm going to go to my effects, and I'm going to search for curves, and I'm going to drop it onto my adjustment layer. Now here in the curves, you have your standard, you have your RGB, red, green, blue, and your alpha. So maybe I want to darken up a little overall, bump up the highlights, whatever I want to do. So I'm actually going to reset that because what I want is to create an adjustment layer for each of the parts of the scene. So I have my foreground, my midground. Let's say the foreground we'll call all of the grass. So the fairway all the way to the tree line will be our foreground, because they're pretty much the same color, although we could maybe consider this the middle, but we're going to call the tree line the middle, and the mountains and the sky the background. So let's go ahead and get started with this adjustment layer. I'm going to just mask it out first. So I'm going to come in here, not do that, just roughly shape that out. Okay, so now, see when I affect it, just getting that selected area. Undo that. And I'm going to go into my greens first of all. And I'm not going to really try real hard to get this real accurate. I'm going to more show you what I did, so it's not doesn't take real long. It's green. Maybe we'll come in the blues. Drop the blue out low. We can make it real crazy green. Okay, but if we turn that off, you can start to see pretty noticeable difference in the color. So red. See what happens if we a little bit red. There we go. We'll get some nice green. Okay, so right now, I don't know if you can tell, but a pretty hard line right here. So I'm going to go into my adjustment layer and hit M, twirl down my mask properties, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just set the feather 25 right now. And I can also, if I wanted to bring my mask expansion up or down, I'm going to leave it at 0 and just go with a feather. Maybe we'll just do feather 15 and a -5, -2. Look, I said I wasn't going to do that, but I did. So okay, so moving on to the next, I'm just going to duplicate that adjustment layer, and I'm going to make that, I'm going to keep that as foreground. So I'm just going to do, I'm going to just FG foreground. And this I'm going to make the midground. So I'm going to do the trees with this. So I'm going to just delete that mask. I'm going to reset my curves. See that? So I still retain that. So go into this middle, and now get my pen tool, And I can't draw a line right now. I'll go fairly straight. Come up around this tree. I'm holding Option in. I can make these, since I'm going to feather it and it's already kind of out of focus, I'm not super concerned with tracing these real accurate right now. So maybe on a job you might want to take a little more time, maybe not. It depends on what it calls for. So this is pretty rough and simple. Okay, so now I'll go back into red. I'm going to drop the red out. Gonna boost some greens. There we go. Looks right. Bring it down. Some blue. And grab the mask. I'm going to go ahead and feather that like 5. There we go. So let's take a look at the difference. Before, after, and then I'm going to duplicate that one again. The middle one I'll just put middle ground, MG, and I will delete the mask off the bottom. Reset my curves. Still have my pen tool, and let's see here. I want to go around this and get the mountains. So again, I'm not gonna make sure I hit every contour of these beautiful mountains in the background. I am just going to quickly mask it. Oops. I'm going to have to zoom in here. What happened? There we go. Get back on track a little bit. Look at that. And bam. Okay. So now that we have that, I'll go ahead and label that background, or how about mountain ground? Nope, that's the same. Mountains. Clever, clever. Okay. So I'm going to darken these mountains just a little bit. Bring up maybe some of those highlights. Maybe pump a little red into them. Put a little green. Blue. Let's remove some of that red. Let's see how it's looking. See that line? Let's twirl down my mask properties, grab my feather, and let's set it to 5 and see how that blends. Still pretty hard. 15. It's looking a little better. -3. Alright. So now, as we can see, it moves. Let's twirl that up. So like I said, I'm not going to spend forever. You could also do one on the sky. The sky is white. It was kind of really bright with some clouds that day, so that's the way the sky came out, overexposed. But so we can just take layer by layer. So that's the original shot. And we'll start in the background, mountains, tree line, fairway. Now, as you notice, this shot moves. It was done on a slider. I had a slider on the ground and shot it that way. So these masks are going to have to be animated, the mask paths. So we'll start at frame 1 and we'll set our mask frame and we'll go to the end. In the first one I have the mountains, so I'm going to double click and I'm just going to eyeball this back in there. Sorry about the autosave. And it taking so long. Okay. So now I have two keyframes, one at the beginning and one at the end for the mountain mask layer, but if I start scrubbing through, you can see, look, it's off. Okay, so I'm going to go to the middle. I'm just going to move it. Again, I'm not being super accurate right now, but I'm going to go to the middle of that shot. Be like, oh, bring it back a little bit, bring it down. Let's check up here. It's getting off a little bit. Okay. So basically just keep laying down some keyframes. Keep the mask on track. Kind of 50%. I found if you just kind of go halfway between the keyframes and kind of work it that way, that you end up using the least amount of keyframes, not having to keyframe the whole thing. I'm also going to change this mask expansion to -1. Okay, and then so I would also need to do that for the trees. I'm going to grab it, move it in, place it. I'm going to go to the middle. Move it in, place it, and so forth until my masks are staying with the entire shot. So again, that's really how you do it. It's all layer based. You can add levels, you know, whatever tools you need to get the shot looking the way you want it to. Curves obviously being primary and a very powerful tool in conjunction with other things. But just break down your shot into the different parts. So your foreground, your middle ground, your background, what have you. If you have a character or a hero in the shot, maybe you want to single them out, and their face or their body, and also create them as a layer. So it's just all about piling them on and getting your final shot. So I hope this was useful. I hope you liked it, and until next time, thank you for stopping by.